Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Let's give it up one more time for all of the presenters that appeared on the stage this evening. Thank you. Tonight I'm really excited because I've always been a writer from the time that I was a little girl, and I used to get teased in school a lot, and my mother used to always encourage me to write about the emotions, and I used to create things that would make me laugh, and I learned at a very young age that my writing affected teachers in a positive way, and I got good grades and had many opportunities that were presented to me as a result of it. And so as an adult, I started getting into the spoken word area of my creative writing, and I did that for, let's say, 20 years. And then 2 years ago, I was bitten by the bug of stand-up comedy. Not 2 years, it was a year ago, actually. I've been practicing and learning the trade of stand-up comedy. But at the very beginning of me getting into comedy, I learned about this really incredible woman, Moms Mabley. And she is a pioneer, African-American woman who made major inroads, back in the 60s, which we're going to get into in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to give you some background on her. As a child, she had a very traumatic childhood, which I identify with. She was, before the age of 14, her father was a firefighter. He died in an explosion. And when she was 11, her mother was killed on Christmas Day because she got hit by a truck. And she was raped twice and became pregnant from both of those experiences, and she ended up giving up her children. However that happened, I'm not quite exactly sure about that. So at the age of 14, she ran away and she joined the business of show business, and she joined with vaudeville, which is kind of like a lot of variety. It was tap dancing, there was all the singing, there's all this wonderful creative things that are going on there, and that's kind of where she sharpened her tools and her skill set for entertainment. She later became a part of the Chitlin circuit, which I don't know exactly when that started, but certainly in the 60s, that was a circuit where African Americans who were entertainers were able to travel throughout the U.S. as a network, and they had a network of houses that they could stay at because they couldn't stay at hotels, places where it was safe for them to eat, and of course a network of places where they could perform. She starred in many movies. She had a very popular line of comedy albums, and she headlined at the Apollo in the 60s. And she performed on various variety television shows, including The Ed Sullivan Show. Basically, over her lifetime, she established a career as a top stand-up comedian of her day. Next. Okay, so I was really fascinated by Moms Mabley, because offstage, she had this glamorous chic look, which included teeth, and she was known as a lesbian. But on stage, can we go to the next one? Ebony wrote that she creates the impression that the theater cleaning woman has somehow wandered into the spotlight. And I was just, if you look at the picture of her, this glamorous woman, the sophisticated woman, this was her costume, and this was her safety net that she created so that in the 60s, she could be heard, and she got away with this character. She was able to talk about everything. She talked about the racial differences at that time, that existed, and she made she could turn that pain into laughter, only for a moment, the black audiences, and everyone actually, because she went mainstream. But could you imagine, if she had came out and she was a lesbian in a pinstripe suit, she would have never gone mainstream. Ed Sullivan would have never put her on TV. Next. Okay, so this is just more on what I was just saying. We can go to the next one. Okay, so I just saw a few notable quotables that I saw from her stand-up. Her advice to children crossing the street: damn the lights, watch the cars. The lights ain't never killed nobody. You know what I mean? This one over here, if we can go over. by Kate Clinton. It says, Moms Mabley said, you have to say good things about the dead. I say he's dead. Good. This was like her kind of... God is good. No, sorry. I'm responding to that. Not Whitney, I'm so sorry. I know we don't all look alike. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg did, and I actually, about a year ago, actually saw the documentary that Whoopi Goldberg did on Moms Mabley. And I once again was fascinated by that. She says, I believe that parts of people like John Garfield and Moms Mabley are the parts of them that I needed to be able to do what I'm doing, came into me. That's a very nice feeling that there are many spirits inside me looking after me. And I had this conversation with my husband earlier today, and I was saying, I don't believe that it's just our ancestors that are looking out for us, that are in our bloodline, that are biologically related. But I think that people in the spirit world, we're all connected in this energy field, and that we can hone, and I think that, if you're in a similar wave, then they're kind of there on your shoulder when you're creating or whatever it is. And I kind of hear, sometimes I hear Moms Mabley, sometimes I hear George Carlin, I hear, as I'm creating that work, I'm saying this sounds like George Carlin would have wrote something like this. Anyway, next. Hold on for a second. Yes. So I wanted to play 2 minutes of, if we can click on that link right here. Yes. Oh, it's not clicking from. It's a PDF. Okay, so I didn't save that as.
Hit play, see what happens.
No, it won't. If the hand's not coming up.
You sure about that?
Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this link and I'm going to put it on the invitation on Facebook. So if you want to click into this at a later point, it will be there at the end of the evening. Can we go to the next screen? Okay, so the thing that fascinated me most about Moms Mabley is that, so she took this persona and she used it as a vehicle to be able to say what she needed to say in that time and to take her everywhere that she wanted to go. When I first started out with stand-up, I thought, oh, so that means that I have to kind of tone down, because that's kind of the advice. You tone down and you kind of, you don't want to distract from the message and all of that. But the interesting thing that resonated with me was that I felt like I was actually born, in that costume that would allow me to be able to do all of those things that she did. For example, I'm a woman, I'm a black woman in America. I happen to have been born with one hand, so I'm a proud member of the handy-capable community. And so what I'm saying is that when people look at my pleasant face, right? They look at my pleasant face, they're not thinking about the fact that there could be a powerhouse of a brain behind it, Or if they're looking at my voluptuous breasts, they're not thinking that, oh, she must have her master's degree in childhood education. She's an entrepreneur, and she's, an award-winning children's book author who's a certified teacher. They're not thinking about those kind of things. When they look at my little arm, they're not thinking that a year ago I learned how to play the guitar, and that that I'm capable of doing whatever it is that I put my mind to. And I'm always challenging myself to. So what I discovered was, this says, if God wanted me to blend in, He would have made me with two hands, And so I feel like what I learned from her is that in my particular case, I just flipped it a little bit. I have the same gift to be able to do what she did, but I'm going to use the spoke of comedy. Comedy is a spoken will of show business. I'm going to use that as the vehicle, along with all the other ingredients I'm made up of, to say what I want to say and go where I want to go and do it unapologetically,
Yes.
and with conviction, and that's
Yes.
fuck it,
Yes.
All right, so with that, that is my presentation on Moms Mabley.
Should I shut this down?
Yes. Hey everybody, how you doing? Okay, so I know what all of you must be thinking right now. So we're gonna put it to bed, and I want to address the elephant in the room.
What?
I got some big ass titties. And every time men are looking at them, and sometimes women, and they're gazing at them for entirely too long, I gotta remind them, hey buddy, the arm's down here. I often wonder how I came to be born with 5 fingers and this hands-free cell phone device. And I picture myself standing in the body picking line. And I ask God, God, what's a girl gotta do to be born with G-cups? Give an arm and a leg? And God said, nah, just an arm. So anyway, I have one hand, but I don't consider myself to be disabled. I consider myself to be handy-capable. The only thing disabled about me is my handicap parking permit. Because membership has its privileges, guys. But these government agencies, they don't like to give anything away, So I applied for my handicap parking permit, and they were like, well, what's your disability? And I was like, well, I was born with this hands-free cell phone device. And they were like, denied. And I was like, why? They were like, because it doesn't impede your ability to walk. I was like, it does if you walk on your hands. And so I appealed it. And I sent them a video of me walking to the car on my hand, arm. And they denied me again, guys. They were off, man, I'm telling you. They were like, listen, we don't enable people to be disabled. Next time you want to get to the car, use your feet. And that's when I realized something, guys. My legs were holding me back. So I threw myself down the basement stairs, accidentally on purpose. And I got my handicap parking permit, you know what I mean? Because you gotta persevere and commit when you want things in this world, you know what I'm saying? So do we have any parents in the audience tonight? All right, parents are amazing. I am the proud parent of not 1, not 2, but 8 badass kids, yo.
Whoa.
Yeah, thank you. And I envy some of you parents who only have but 1 or 2 kids, because you don't know what it is to discipline 8 children. I see you looking at my arm, you probably want to know where it went. Well, I'll tell you. One day, my kids were misbehaving so badly, I snatched it off and I beat the mess out of them with it. And I haven't seen it since, y'all. Let me tell you, I have this black friend. And he told me that black people are amazing. Because we took this hate word and we turned it into a term of endearment. I was like, N-word, please. That would be like me. Ladies, help me out here, okay? What's the worst name? Just yell it out. What's the worst name a guy could call you? Or cunt. We're going to go with that. Thank you. Thank you so much. You said that with conviction. We're going to go with the C word. That would be like me saying, I know, I'm going to take the C word and I'm going to turn it into a term of endearment and empower my ladies. So I start this lovely greeting card company called Cuntable Quotables. And we have some real winners in the lineup, Like, to my favorite cunt in the whole wide world, Happy Mother's Day! Or this one is my favorite, guys. I told you to lay off the booze and all those dudes. I hope your cunt feels better soon! That's a get well cunt card, guys. Don't act like you don't know somebody who knows somebody who can use that. You ever get into an argument with someone because they don't understand what you understand? They need to understand to get some understanding about the misunderstanding? Well, normally, my husband and I we love each other, We're real respectful of each other. But this day, we had this knockdown, dragged out fight because we couldn't agree on whether I was using an X-Acto knife or a box cutter. And for those of you who don't know the difference, they're the exact same thing. And he was like, it's a box cutter. And I was like, it's an X-Acto knife. And about an hour into it, I was rebuking him. I was like, the devil is a liar. And he was apologizing to the kids. He told them he thought he chose better. And apparently, that's my husband over there laughing. He knows. Apparently, though, God loves me more than he loves my husband, y'all. Because on the news that night, there was a story about 12 people who got injured. But guess what, guys? An X-Acto knife. I was right! And I wasn't humble about it at all. I was giving myself high fives, pat myself on the back, and I even did this victory dance to the Salt and Pepper song. I was like, ooh, baby, baby, kiss it real good. Okay. But speaking of mental insanity, do you remember back before mental illness became this multi-billion-dollar industry? Everybody had, of every family had somebody in it who was just a little extra special. And you know, little Johnny, every time you took him to a birthday party, he'd always bob for apples with his booty. Yeah, it happens. And I just think the world, there's no mental insanity. The world is just full of extreme thinkers, you know what I mean? And if you cross the line, you're just a criminal, right? So, I mean, schizophrenia, really, that's a thing. Maybe all those voices are coming from all the little people who live inside their bodies. No? Alzheimer's, really? They're just memory intolerant. I'm just saying, stop diagnosing each other, people. I was at a store and I heard this woman say, my boyfriend never listens to a word I say. I think he's got ADD. I was like, really, bitch? Maybe everything you have to say just doesn't interest him a lot. You know what I mean? And speaking of suicidal people, maybe they know themselves best. And deep down inside, they just know they're not supposed to be here. Okay, guys, you're getting a little serious on me about this. But I just want to say, I feel like I could speak on it, you know, because as a teenager, my dad killed himself, and boy, did I dodge a bullet. No, seriously, guys, he shot himself to death in a drunken stupor, and he missed once. I can still hear him murmuring. Stay still, damn it, I'm gonna get me eventually. And he did. Thank you, guys. My name is Lucia Vision. I'm gonna leave you on that note. Thank you very much. You've been great.